Oh, fuck Audacity, man. Welcome back, it's your boy Sloppy Toppy McGee back here with another video. Hope you're all doing great. Last video I walked you sexy fuckers through the 1964 classic and the first film in the Dollar Trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars. It's a great video and it's worth checking out. We're going to be looking at the second film in Sergio Leone's iconic Dollar Trilogy for a few dollars more. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. Tell your mums all about me because I'm ready for them. For a Few Dollars More is the surprisingly overlooked second film in the Dollar Trilogy. Following the huge success and revival of the spaghetti westerns, thanks to the man himself, Sergio Leone totally knocked it out of the park yet again, both critically and commercially. However, it is barely brought up as much as the first and the third film in this trilogy. For God's sake, it's a fucking western heist movie, it's great. Capturing audiences with his enticing world, heroically questionable characters and his surprisingly sparse script. All of this mixed with Sergio Leone's film-defining cinematography, from his long tension building shot to his establishing shots and his extreme close-ups. This sequel was a guaranteed hit. The cast is bigger, the sets are bigger and the music is equally as heartbreaking as the last. For a Few Dollars More was filmed in Spain in 1964. The story of this film is about two rival bounty hunters that try and take down a gang who are planning a bank robbery in El Paso. Realizing that they outmanned and outgunned, the bounty hunters team up and hatch a plan to infiltrate the gang after their robbery and steal the money from within. This film is arguably one of the greatest westerns of all time. Getting into this film, it starts with a lone rider riding in the desert, who we think is whistling when it is revealed to be a man watching the rider. He guns down the rider from a distance, commencing the intro title credits. And Jesus Christ, do they go on for a bit. I totally think that everybody making these films deserves the credit, but when it goes on for like 5 minutes before the film, you really do start to lose concentration. The music is great. In fact, it's incredible. It has an atmosphere that brings together the whole style for this entire film. It sells the time period while modernizing it for newer audiences. I'm really surprised that Ennio Morricone just manages to nail it on the head every single time. We open with a priest on a train taking a journey across state. He begins arguing with a ticket warden and a nearby man about the fact the train isn't going to be stopping at his station. But the priest insists it is. The train stops and the conductor questions the priest as he walks out of the train carriage with his horse. The priest takes none of his bullshit and walks away. The priest makes his way to the nearby ticket booth and notices a poster of a wanted man. The ticket man tells him that no one is fierce enough to take down the bounty. The priest brushes off the claim and he takes the poster with him, heading towards the local saloon to question the bartender. After locating the bounty's whereabouts, the priest slides the wanted poster underneath his door, alerting his bounty, who is busy getting busy with a local whore, if you know what I'm saying. His bounty escapes through a window and heads for his horse, but the priest isn't far behind him. Showing off his impressive arsenal of weapons that are attached to his saddle, he chooses his weapon of choice and guns the man off his horse. Starting a standoff between the pair, the bounty receives a bullet to the head in the end. While delivering a bounty to the sheriff gives the priest a new target in a town called White Rock. But the sheriff warns him that another bounty called Manco is already tracking the same target. We quickly cut to the man, the myth, the legend, the fucking man, Clint fucking Eastwood, cigar in mouth and all. He is playing Manco, which is the same character we saw in A Fistful of Dollars, but this film is apparently set before, as there are holes he gains in this hat in this movie shown in the film from the previous year. Like, it's a bit confusing, but just stay with me. Manco visits the saloon in White Rock and finds his target at a cards table, ruining their game and eventually doing the most badass chop in film history while delivering the greatest line of all time.
Alive or dead, it's your choice.
Okay, Manco. Manco quickly dispatches some of the target's henchmen that come to back him up. Having his target captured, he collects the reward money from the sheriff. We then see a gang breaking into a prison fort, swiftly taking out the guards and using incredible teamwork. Well done, you guys. They try and rescue their leader, Indigo, the antagonist of the movie, played by Gianni Maria Volonti, the same actor who played the antagonist in the first film, Ramon, but this is a different character. It's a bit confusing, but again, just go with it. When they reach him, Indigo shoots his cellmate and they move out, cutting down all the useless guards and escaping. He then kills the warden, but leaves one man alive. The priest sees a poster for Indigo for $10,000 and he really wants it. Indigo naturally hunts down the bounty hunter who put him away and decides to kill his wife and their 18-month-old baby. Indigo challenges the bounty hunter himself to a standoff, using his pocket watch's music chime as the cue for when they should shoot. Once the song stops, he mercilessly guns down the poor man. Leone is great at building up the villain. They commit such heinous crimes, making Clint's character have complete justifications for his actions. So we learn that the priest is called Douglas Mordecai, an ex-military colonel turned bounty hunter. Arguably the second coolest character in this whole trilogy. There is something about this cold-hearted killer. He's complex, he's revenge-driven. He's an interesting character, but we get on to more of him in a second. Mortimer goes to a bank to use his big boy brain because he realizes that the gang rob a bank, so he wants to know which is the most heavily protected because it has the most chance of being robbed by Indigo and his men. The bank teller tells Mortimer that El Paso is the most heavily protected bank and is practically a fort. Manco wanders into El Paso and begins to talk to a young boy, paying him off for information on anybody new that has wandered into town. The boy points him in the direction of the hotel. There is a smoking hot redhead behind the counter who probably give you that guac guac 3000 love combo, that type shit. Clint Eastwood wants the room overlooking the main street, but they say it's occupied. Manco goes upstairs himself and removes the poor man, Senor Martinez, taking his room from him. Indigo's gang are all hanging out, throwing knives and playing with their spurs. Indigo proposes that the gangs hit the bank of El Paso. Indigo casually begins to start to tell the story of a carpenter while on a podium at a church. Pretty obviously he's telling a story about everybody's favourite Jew. Anyway, he explains that there's a lot of money hidden within a safe within a cabinet. Mortimer goes to a bank in El Paso pretending to be a potential customer to check out their security measures. And honestly, this guy's pretty smart. Manco leaves the hotel and speaks to the boy again. The boy admits that he didn't tell Manco about another man who has recently been in town. Manco goes a little nuts and grabs the boy by the collar, threatening him. The boy then points towards the saloon. Mortimer is then in the saloon antagonizing one of Indigo's men called Wild by lighting a match on his face. Wild is a hunchback for some reason, and Wild wants to fight Mortimer, but the other gang members stop him as they don't want to gain any heat while they plan their heist. Manco witnesses the whole situation and taking note of Mortimer's presence. After that, Mortimer, Manco and Indigo's gang all watch El Paso's bank guards do their route around the bank, each counting how long it takes. I really like this scene. It's just a fun way and interesting way of showing how they're all on to each other. Mortimer witnesses Indigo's gang ride off before there is a slightly hilarious moment between Manco and Mortimer, who look at each other through their telescopes. Mortimer does some research into Manco and finds some old newspapers highlighting his bounty hunting skills. The music plays. Manco does his own kind of research by visiting the local prophet, a supposed man of knowledge. Manco learns about Colonel Douglas Mortimer and begins to understand the risks this rivalry could bring while hunting down Indigo and his gang. Love how the prophet won't move away from the train tracks, so his house is falling apart and Manco just sits there and lights a cigar, acting cool as a cucumber. Mortimer is packing some of his things and gives it to a little Chinese boy who on his way out encounters Manco in the middle of the street. Manco and Mortimer stand off by rubbing dirt on each other's shoes before Manco sucker punches Mortimer in the face, knocking his hat off. A cruel game then ensues between the two. Whenever Mortimer tries to pick up his hat, Manco will shoot him, making the hat make its way down the street. Finally, giving a patient Mortimer a chance to grab his hat, Mortimer shoots Manco's hat off his head, keeping it in the air by continuously shooting it, showcasing his skills that rival Manco's. The two join for a drink and discuss the idea of a partnership. Manco is hesitant, but Mortimer explains that there are 14 of them. It would be beneficial to make it 14 to 2, not 15 to 1. Manco eventually agrees and the two are paired up. Mortimer then tells Manco that he has to join the gang and help with the heist, and then they will stop them during the robbery. This scene is nice because the men put aside their professions and begin to start talking just as men, creating a bond. Mortimer also tells Manco to free one of Indigo's men from a nearby prison to gain trust to get into the gang straight away. Indigo begins to have flashbacks of a couple lying in bed. The man gives a woman a present and it's Indigo's watch we saw earlier when he slaughtered the bounty hunter and his family. Indigo creeps into the room, gunning down the man. Manco blows up the side of a prison to free one of Indigo's men. They escape on horseback, making it back to Indigo's gang hideout. Indigo immediately is suspicious of Manco, but the man that Manco helps vouches for him, so Indigo welcomes him with open arms. But Manco doesn't help the situation by joking about turning them all in. Indigo tells Manco that he will be robbing a bank in Santa Cruz to try and get as many law enforcement away from El Paso to make the big job easier in El Paso. Manco suspiciously leaves pretty soon.
Well, if there's gonna be any shooting, I gotta get my rest.
Manco and 3 of Indigo's gang are hanging around a fire in the morning. One of them says it was funny what Manco said yesterday about turning them in, and Manco pretty much quickly shoots them dead. All cold-hearted killer style, triumphing music plays. Woo, fuck yeah America, killing all the commies. Manco then quickly rides to a nearby telegrapher and takes him hostage, forcing him to deliver a message saying that the Bank of Santa Cruz is being robbed. Keeping up appearances and keeping up the plan to avoid suspicion, all the law enforcement from El Paso make their way to Santa Cruz. Indigo's gang make their way to El Paso with a wagon. Manco watches from a distance. Mortimer chooses a weapon while sad music plays. You son of a bitch, I'm meant. Manco arrives in town hiding beneath some stairs, signaling Mortimer. Inside the bank, a guard lies on the sofa and ducks into a pretty decent sandwich. Indigo's gang finally arrives in El Paso. It's the beginning of the heist. The guards begin their route. Everybody starts to count like before. Indigo's wagon pulls up to the side of the bank after blowing up the side of it and quickly killing the sandwich-eating guard, swiftly putting the cabinet on the wagon, and this takes Manco and Mortimer by surprise. Indigo and his gang escape with no trouble. A fucked off Manco tells Mortimer that their partnership is over because they got away, and Mortimer says that they're now worth more after this heist, so he shoots Manco in the neck to try and draw suspicion away from Manco. Indigo and his gang are shooting the cabinet in the desert, revealing a safe within it, as Manco pulls up on his horse. The rest of the gang don't believe Manco when he says the other gang members didn't return because they died during the heist. Indigo sees Manco's wound and lets it go. The gang head to Agua Caliente. Indigo claims that he has many friends there, but sends Manco in because they've never seen him shoot. All the town folks run and they hide in this place that is basically straight from Tatooine. Manco notices a man down the street standing after him, so he naturally shoots the apples off a nearby tree to show his gunslinging skills. Mortimer appears out of nowhere to shoot the same tree, but Manco decides to go into a local tavern and question Mortimer on how he found him. Mortimer thinks that Indigo is onto them and he warns Manco, as the rest of the gang enter the tavern pretty soon after. While the hunchback recognizes Mortimer from the saloon earlier in the film, so he begins to threaten him. Unfazed, Mortimer continues to eat his chili. Wild challenges Mortimer to a standoff. Mortimer has a sneaky tiny little gun up his sleeve like Christoph Waltz in Django Unchained. Killing Wild, Mortimer draws the attention of Indigo, who sits at his table. Mortimer explains that he knows Indigo took the cash from El Paso and they need him to open the safe without destroying half the cash. Indigo is shocked, but he agrees, using chemicals to open the safe without harming the cash, which pleases the whole gang. To make sure that no one gets caught and betrays the gang, Indigo tells the gang, Mortimer and Manco, that they have to stay in Agua Caliente for a whole month till the heat of the cash dies down. Honestly, this is a solid western. They hide the money in a food storage building. We see Manco sleeping with one eye open, but he decides to check out the hideout, find the location of the cash while everyone is asleep. Manco ends up on the top of the food storage building and removes the tiles of the roof to get in. Once he is in, he is greeted with Mortimer lighting a lamp. Mortimer then gives Manco the cash in the saddlebags and the two leave from the roof. Manco chucks the saddlebags into the tree while lowering themselves down. They are caught by Indigo and his gang. The two are then beaten, tortured, before being tied up. Indigo threatens to leave Manco and Mortimer outside El Paso with some of the cash. Strangely, one of the gang members kills another gang member with a knife of another, framing him. All before releasing Manco and Mortimer and giving them their unloaded pistols. Confused, Manco and Mortimer leave cautiously. The even more confused gang member asks Indigo why did he make him let Manco and Mortimer go. Indigo states that he has known Manco was a bounty hunter the whole time. Honestly, everybody is so sweaty in this film. Indigo frames one of the gang members to give himself a bigger cut and proposes that his gang goes against Mortimer and Manco to widen his cut and distract the two so he can escape. One of Indigo's gang members, Groggy, turns on Indigo while the rest of the gang have gone to gun down Mortimer and Manco. Groggy points a gun at Indigo to make him reveal where the cash is. Opening the chest and realizing that Manco and Mortimer have already taken the money, revealing Indigo's wanting poster inside, Groggy starts to wildly look for it while Indigo drinks, laughing to himself knowing that he is beaten. Manco strolls into town and begins to take out Indigo's gang. Mortimer and Manco patrol the streets, wiping out the gang effortlessly. Groggy asks Indigo what the pocket watch means, and we are treated to another flashback. Indigo shoots a man in the bedroom and begins to rape the woman. The woman then reaches for his pistol while being raped and shoots herself. Once Indigo is out of this trance, he hears Mortimer calling his name. Snapping out of it, Indigo grabs his gear and heads out to face him. Groggy gets shot. They're in a wide open space, a staple for standoffs in this franchise. Wish more films would give characters more organic space for their final showdowns. Mortimer has a watch, similar to Indigo's, linking a connection. Manco watches the two stand off from the sidelines, using the watch as a time for the duel just as Indigo has done for many others. The two square off in a legendary duel, close ups and all, the music's swelling, and when the song stops, Mortimer guns down Indigo with ease. The devastating end to a ruthless criminal. Manco says there's a family resemblance in the lockets. The woman in Indigo's flashback is Mortimer's sister, and the whole time it has been a revenge mission for Mortimer, but a cash job for Manco. Mortimer gives all the money for the gang to Manco, a beautiful moment that honestly makes this one of the best westerns ever. While Manco is counting his bounty, he realizes that he's missing
16,
one of the gang members.
17, 22, 22.
Who pops out from a wall behind him, but
27.
Manco quickly turns around and takes him out, stating that he thought he was getting his
trouble,
maths
boy?
wrong. As he rides away with a wagon full of corpses, worth a lot, he stops beneath a tree to retrieve the saddlebags that he lost. In my favourite part of the film, Manco ends up with all the cash and all the reward for the bounty. It zooms out, it's the end of the fucking movie. Go home, kiss the girl, delete your internet history, punch the local retard. If you made it this far, subscribe and comment your fucking mum's number. Fucking love you. Thank you. Make sure you check out all the other videos on this channel, and a good night.